Do. Gruster's review. Ba-da-boo-doo. Well, hey there, cozy cuddlers. On this cuddly-tastic Cosington evening of the Cuddlington's Cuddle Files effect, the Cuddle Files, we're just nice and cozy cuddled up. We've got my cat from hell. These people are dressed like cats, and we're nice and cozy cuddled up with perhaps some hot chocolate.
This rap shit done saved my life and fucked it up at the same time. Danny Brown's opening salvo on Quaranta, his first solo LP of 4 years and second endeavor in 2023, sets the tone for a project marked with growth and sobriety, regret and accountability, and the clashing emotions that go with wanting to be remembered for your art while drowning in the malaise that comes from doing anything for 20 plus years. While his collaborative album Scaring the Hoes with JPEG Mafia splashed the start of this year with frenetic braggadocio, abstract instrumentals, and eclectic chirps and howls, we wind down 2023 with Danny giving us one of his most subdued projects yet, filled with flashes of the somber reality that comes with growing older, trying to clean yourself up a bit, and the turmoil of dwelling on your past mistakes. Is all that enough, though, to jettison Danny into Album of the Year territory? Well, I think you know what time it is. It's Gruster's review for Danny Brown's new album, Quaranta.
Do. Gruster's review. Ba-da-boo-doo-boo-bop-bop-bop-bow. Gruster's review.
Quaranta starts off with Quaranta. I really love the mellow build-up of the first track. Danny asking Siri what 40 is in Italian, and the fuller instrumental creeping on, oozing with exasperation and what serenely sounds like sitar string plucking. As an opening track should, this really sets the tone for the project. Danny sharing the highs and lows that have come off the success of XXX, struggling with his own tendencies to push people away, leaving him alone after it all, almost having a spouse, something that's further extrapolated on the 7th track down with it. I've always been a firm believer that Danny Brown is just one of the best when it comes to the first and last tracks on an album, and Quaranta, continues to deliver that excellent streak, setting the stage with an opener that lets you know what you're in for. But in classic Danny Brown fashion, the second track flips the script as that old Danny Brown yelp returns over a beautifully rigid Alchemid production that's honestly one of my favorite instrumentals of the whole year. Like, honestly, even when I'm not listening to the album, I just hear myself constantly going, the guitars and drums feeling reminiscent of Rare Chandelier's Alchemist. Specifically, Demolition Man. I don't know, I thought of that song immediately when I heard this. The chorus feels bombastic and anthemic. The Chinese mic couplets are hilariously on the nose. And the start of the second verse always ignites for me every time. But it's the ending bars that just wrap the bow on this wintry Christmas delight from Daniel. If I had to describe Danny Brown succinctly to anyone with just a couple of his bars, I feel like there's no better chosen than this: that Black Lives Matter, still sniff cocaine, pay for a therapist, but I still ain't changed. And Danny knows this. I mean, he blares it out twice in repetition before a final hook, shouting into the end, as this eclectic beat whispers everything from the cutesy anime sound I know from Hunter x Hunter to the classic Michael Scott no no's. So, delicious. Onward and Grustward. Ain't No Concern is the third track, one that kind of washed over me initially, but definitely has grown on me more listens. The shuffling drum beats are definitely nice, and overall this song feels some reason feels like a really old Danny Brown song to me, harkening back to the hybrid era. Maybe it's a random connection that only makes sense to me, but I feel like you tell me what I don't know off Atrocity Exhibition and had it released on Hot Super, you get Ain't No Concern. Except the subject is almost flipped. with Danny being the one sharing all the tidbits on the rap game that you might not know about. Ironically, asking if there's an easy way to get it. Show me the sign up for. The cadence I said is so wrong. It should not sound like that. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'll use this in the whole version. If I do, I apologize. This is just me being lazy. A couple lines really stuck out though. A couple lines really stuck out through this one to me. And you can never really trust yourself if your life is a lie. Reinforcing his value for authenticity. Sneaking in the deeply distressing, my aunt dad was on tour, couldn't shed no tears. That's a bad Danny Brown voice. Bringing my mind back the golden intro of her sweatshirts burgundy. And then it feels like Danny pulls something straight out of the boondocks, making note of how you used to sell your soul for rock and roll. But now the rap game, it's your booty hole. Wash your ass. In a way, Quaranta reminds me of Old, the original follow-up to Danny Brown's XXX, where he created a double album, the first being the old man reflective Danny Brown side, and the second being the classic pills and cocaine old Danny Brown side. But with Quaranta, it's more of a compacted project that segments things off by similar themes at points. You get exuberant bar-centric raps like Tantor and Dark Sword Angel towards the front. Then we go into Y.B.P and Jenn's Terrific Vacation that both sort of attack the ideas of environment and upbringing for Danny Brown, with the former more of where he came from and the latter aptly going towards where things are going. And then to round things out, you get the Duster's Diamond Doubles of Hanami and Bass Jam that are some of the most grounded and introspective tracks on the whole project. Gotta give shoutouts to Quelle Chris and Chris Key Beats for following up Ain't No Concern with one of my favorites of the album, Dark Sword Angel, with an instrumental that starts like glistening coins flipped into a wishing well, then immediately blasting them with crunchy electro gamma radiation. Another track with tons of quotables from Danny, leaving breadcrumbs towards his own forays into stand-up comedy with Hannibal Buress and Dave Chappelle bars. While similes involving Tetris are nothing new, I absolutely love Danny's phrasing with it, almost taking agency away from himself in the situation, as if these bars are just falling endlessly and it's his job to just put them in the right spots. Definitely gives me some vibes of his classic equalizer gone from green to red line from XXX. And of course, want my finger in her like a rotary phone is that perfect type of graphic sexual slapstick that I love from Danny Brown. But to wrap up my thoughts on this one, it's another one of those landmines that could easily go overlooked, but right like that's the only thing that I'm good at just resonates more after every replay. The next two I've grouped together in sort of a interesting Duster's Diamond Doubles, sharing somewhat similar ideals, but to different effective results. I wouldn't be surprised by anyone putting Y.B.P towards the top for them on this album, being that perfect blend of effortlessly cool while also soul-crushingly depressing. The vocal sample feels so bouncy and swaggy, the instrumental gives a lot of room to breathe for Danny, and the Bruiser Wolf feature is the best on the album in my opinion. He brings such a meticulously smooth flow that somehow the clunky seeming ending bars work out absolutely perfectly. Lyrically though, the song is called Young, Black and Poor for a reason, and it's almost like a hide the pain herald the way these guys take some of the most depressing situations from their upbringing and make it seem like a cakewalk. Bouncing off that idea, we head into Jenn's Terrific Vacation, which is probably my least favorite song on the album, while Y.B.P look towards the past and share their experiences growing up in Detroit. Jenn's Terrific Vacation looks to the future and gentrification, to those same corners now with white girls sipping on White Claws. Thematically, it could be one of the best of the album, and it definitely is one of the best titles for sure. But in execution, it just doesn't hit me as much. It's definitely got like the weakest chorus for me. The drum fills are nice, but nothing truly ear-catching, and the name drops just kind of feel more expected than really revelatory. But to follow up with Down With It is pretty poignant, because we are past the past and now onto some of the more recent pain Danny's been through. The beat expertly sludges onward at the pace of a depressive episode curled up in bed. Sometimes you're just nice and cuddled and cozy and in a nice intriguing cuddly closeness, without a glimmer of light peeking in through the blinds. Falling a little past the halfway mark, this does really feel like the crux of the album. Heading back to the intro of Quaranta, Danny lets us know that this album is an expression of his pain and trauma, of the drugs and drinking he's done to cope with it, challenging that downward spiral with his newfound sobriety, and the intimate relationships he's had and lost during this whole process. Downwitted centralizes on that last theme, but really wraps them all together in one of the most honest and vulnerable songs Danny's ever done, and something that I think anyone can really relate to who's dealt with painful relationships and the thoughts, regrets, and what ifs that can come after. This all leads into the mic featuring Celibate, which honestly comes off as a great palate cleanser of sorts. It's definitely got a slower pace and flow, but not as much as the last song. And while this also touches on his reflections of the past and growth he's made, it's also a song just riddled with bars and really fun lyrically to delve into. He's the Matador of Metaphors, fighting for better bars like prison reform, out of place like carpet in the kitchen being such fun imagery. I can't help but chuckle every time I think of it. Danny's whole second verse is honestly one of my favorite verses of the album. Such a beautiful run through of the rhyme scheme. He starts with intuition and then follows all the way through to an 8-ball looking like Krillin. And to wrap things up, Mike gives a nice verse to bookend things, although it doesn't really feel like too necessary in the way the Bruiser Wolf verse does. Rolling into the final 3 tracks of the album, we start with Shakedown, the other song I'd kind of put on the lower tier like Jenn's Terrific Vacation. Something I can really appreciate the idea of, but personally just doesn't click as much with the end result. The sparkly shimmer of the beat reflects well on the overall tone and airiness of the song, and the background ad-lib of the loopers repeating the hook of "Got a boss up and shake down" can definitely feel a bit earwormy. But overall, this song feels kinda generic to me, something I rarely feel on a Danny Brown project, as he correctly boasted on XXX about how keeping it original really is something overlooked. It's a bit of a shame too, because this song very much feels like the positive result of all this introspection. Danny sounding a little more at peace with everything he's been through and done to achieve what he has, untethered by the anxiety and pain that permeates the rest of the album so heavily, happily accepting that the best things in life are free, cherishing the little things. He does drop a top couplet of the album for me with the thought that love could be bought. It was all sugar till it turned to salt. We do get more fragments on the turmoil of his past relationships, and I'll just reiterate here that I definitely love the album as a cohesive whole, so even a lower song like this one is still nice to have in rotation, but personally just isn't a track I'm specifically jumping to play right now when I want to hear that new Danny Brown. The finale duo of the album is absolutely a Duster and Diamond doubles in all regards, as Hanami is a top 3 song for me without a doubt. The beat feels somewhat tropical, sunny, ethereal strings of various varieties dancing across snare shuffles, with a nice little breakdown towards the end before we get that bittersweet hook kicking back one last time. And lyrically, Hanami feels like the perfect blend of Danny Brown's grounded realism and introspection with hard-hitting bars reflecting his own state of mind and perseverance through it all. The song starts almost like an American Ninja Warrior gauntlet.
This beat is trash. Oh my god, I'm about to bust my ass. Oh, you bitch ass nigga, you done touched on me.
Except instead of the salmon ladder, it's Danny running through the fires and flames to escape death and reach his heaven. As the hook indicates, time is a central theme on this one, with Danny lamenting rap's status as a young man's game, while sort of begrudgingly accepting that he'll never win a Grammy or really be on the charts, while at the same time reinforcing that he's gonna keep onward anyway. Even that admission is tinged with frustration, as Danny bounces between the resilience to move forward and losing sleep over the past mistakes he's made, putting it blatantly out there that it's hard to stay motivated after all this time, but you can't get writer's block or you might end up on the block. I feel like in general there still is that overall perception that you've got, struggling artists just scraping for a crumb to get noticed, and then you have the Goliaths and the top zeniths that become ubiquitous in pop culture. A big love of Quaranta for me is that Danny expresses how much it kind of sucks to be in the middle ground, right? To be a working artist, but still just working, right? To tie it all together, we end with another stellar standout of Quaranta, the bubbling snaps and hissing cooldown of Bass Jam, a trip down memory lane that really paints the picture on the importance of music to Danny. It's mom playing Sade so young Danny can fall asleep. It's the smell of scrambled eggs in the morning while Anita Baker plays in the background. It's jamming to the oldies, laughing with the fam, even through the struggles of connecting emotionally. The gentle instrumental and Danny's light approach to the song really give it a feeling of peace and serenity. Like the culmination of so much turmoil and trauma, so many ups and downs professionally and personally, with that one binding agent holding everything together at its core. A truly immense love for music and all the ways it helps us express ourselves and connect as humans. The second verse has some of the most deeply impacting and heartfelt lyrics I've heard from Danny since that perfect closer of 30. But while 30 ends with pure desperation, Danny screaming for a breath of success and satisfaction in self while drowning in a sea of drugs and trauma, Bass Jam truly shows the immense progress he's made in the last decade. To tie it into another favorite ending track from Danny, the whole ethos of Float On from Old revolves around these lines for me. Danny really going through it all, trying to create truly lasting music, something to be remembered for more than just the physical form that's gonna eventually die and rot away into maggot goo like all of us do. And I just want to say, you fucking did it, dude. Like, I doubt Danny will ever see this. I have no idea what the future has in store for Danny Brown in terms of his creative outlets, his motivation, progression for life as a whole. But you fucking did it, dude. Really. In the same way that you've turned on a song and just instantly got goosebumps. In the same way you've heard someone saying everything you want, everything you wanted to say, everything you thought. In the same way you've been moved to tears before the chorus even kicked in. You've done it all, Danny. Even if it's just for old grusty Mr. Goo over here. I feel you. And I know tons of others feel you too. And for that, all I can say is thank you. Thank you for putting out another great album and for doing what you know you want to. To tie a final bow on things, I might as well give a rating. So say it's a 9 Captain Thrusts out of 10. That wraps up this Gruster's review. What are your own thoughts on Quaranta by Danny Brown? What album on the horizon should I review next? Leave your comments, thoughts, and more below. And of course, if you dig this video, a like and a subscribe greatly is appreciated as well. But until next time, keep it true, keep it a goo. It's an optical illusion. It's an illusion for the optics. Oh, maybe this was the credit. It's an optical illusion. It's an illusion for the optical. It's an optical illusion. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see what's right before your eyes? Or is it ain't for me? It ain't real to me. It's an optical illusion. One more time. It's an optical illusion. Was that enough? Probably should be more to a credit song. I should be like, opticals in your illusory and brain. It's opticals in your illusory land. It's an optical in your illusory randle. And never know just where we began. That's probably enough.